I found that Marilyn Monroe and Charles Manson, about 5 years ago, when I thought of this, were the two most memorable people from the 60s. I thought it was interesting that things like talk shows put them on the same kind of celebrity status.
Since the age of the infamous killer Jack the Ripper, the media has been encapsulated with serial killer culture.
When Ted Bundy emerged from the courtroom, he was barefoot, haggard, he limped from the blisters on his feet, and he weighed 25 pounds.
Rodney Alcala, Ted Bundy, and Jeffrey Dahmer.
It's hard to imagine that this 66-year-old disheveled-looking man may be one of the most prolific and terrifying serial killers ever brought to justice.
Bundy admitted to killing at least 30 women, abducting, raping, and strangling them.
His crimes included luring victims into his home and strangling them before dismembering their bodies.
Each of these come with their own media-branded nickname. The Milwaukee Cannibal, the Dating Game Killer, the Campus Killer, and the list goes on. The nicknames are merely there to provide people with thrill, disassociation, and fascination.
You're going to try for another attorney? You're going to represent yourself, or you're going to get another attorney?
Public fascination with serial killers is something that's been around for a long time.
There's something strange and disarming about looking at a homicide scene in the daylight, like you're in a new and daring section of Disney World, Dahmerland.
She's a beast. I call her karma. She eats your heart out.
Got a barrel of what they think is acid. Police are reluctant to reveal exactly how many victims there might be, but knowledgeable investigators say it could be more than a half a dozen.
Live news, social media, and celebrity culture have increased the amount of spectatorship.
It literally is just me on a Tuesday morning.
Yeah. Charlie's on. Favorite cereal?
Serial killer or cereal?
However, most of these killers have something that they share in common. One thing that provides us with more intrigue. They fit in the archetype of a psychopath or sociopath.
The difference is while the psychopath is a lifelong player like this is a kid who probably was already harming animals, stealing from other kids. People who are psychopathic are very calculating. They can be very smart. They're very cold. They're motivated by power, by profit, by pleasure. They're entirely egocentric and egoistic. There's been a coldness to them from the beginning.
And what would you do to him, Beth?
Stab him.
Okay. What would you stab him with?
A knife.
The sociopath can at times be a victim of or should say a manifestation of their experience, grown up in homes where there was abuse or trauma or neglect. And as they go into adulthood, rather than being cool, calm, collected, they may have still a little bit more of that nervous system reactivity. So the sociopath is a bit more dysregulated and it again doesn't have that cold, calm, collected kind of exterior we see in psychopathy. So there's a difference.
The scans show the psychopathic brain behaves unusually, processes punishment differently from violent offenders and people with no history of crime.
You murdered this man.
Yes.
You tortured him.
Of course.
There is no ambiguity, and there is nothing you want to... In court today, you said you're not here to pretend to be remorseful.
Of course not. Why would I do that?
Are you remorseful?
Not at all.
Why?
Why would I be?
Many people who are psychopathic have been described as superficially charming. They're engaging, they're funny, they're charismatic, so they can be interesting because of that.
If I was a football coach, I'd say when you're the first game of the season, you don't start looking for the Super Bowl.
They appear qualitatively different. When you meet someone who is extremely psychopathic, there's something about the way they relate to you which is quite different from the people you normally relate with.
My chance to talk to the press.
Contrary to Section 78204 Florida statute.
I'll plead not guilty right now.
And your grand jury...
There's something absolutely gripping about hearing the story of a human being that would conduct themselves in a way that is so non-normative to the rest of the world. So somebody who could kill in cold blood and not think about it. We are fascinated by that the same way we watch horror films, the same way we go on roller coasters. In essence, we want to be frightened for a moment.
When watching films and television, you are safe. You see these monsters as just another aspect of escapism. One crime after the other, wondering which is worse, or how it could be worse. Television could only wish to create such dramatic tales of fiction. Instead, they recreate the reality.
The media has a large part in making these notorious killers into celebrities. So by treating them as maybe sort of sideshow acts, by treating these individuals as celebrities rather than what they are, which is killers that have taken people's lives, the media then tries to sort of present them as something exciting and something different, and therefore that captures the general population's imagination. There's a misrepresentation in terms of the media, in that the media could be glorifying this condition. So, we talk about individuals who, write love letters to serial killers, and that comes out in terms of, anytime you're looking at somebody on death row.
Reporters described Bundy's cold-blooded crimes in graphic detail, yet bags of fan mail arrived at his Florida jail during his trial.
But yet you're fascinated by him.
Very, very.
Why do you do it?
I don't know. He just doesn't look like the type to kill somebody.
You forced me to suffer all my life, and now I'll make you all suffer.
An angry and psychologically twisted young man whose public rantings exploded into sheer terror, taking 6 young lives and injuring 13.
Yay, happy birthday, Elliot. I love you so much. I hope you have a wonderful birthday in heaven.
These are individuals, these are psychopaths who have taken other people's lives. And therefore what we are doing is we're making them seem to be normalized, or we're making them seem to be more, sort of typical rather than atypical.
One part of me wants to take her out and talk to her, be real nice and sweet and treat her right.
And what'd the other part of him think?
What her head would look like on a stick.
One of the dangers with glamorizing psychopathy in the media is that it creates this sense of mystique about these individuals. And what we have to think about as psychologists is that these are individuals with a diagnosable mental disorder. So therefore, by glamorizing it and by, sort of creating this kind of sense of glory, if you like, round about the psychopath, it could be seen as more harmful than helpful in trying to understand the condition.
Casey! What'd you do that for? I did it for Dahmer. For Dahmer? Yeah, he likes having sex with dead bodies.
When you use what's seemingly a glamorous movie star to portray someone who was such a menace, such a danger, who harmed people, that there is this potential conflation of the glamour of the movie star with the horrific nature of these crimes, and this almost sugarcoating of what this kind of a malignant personality style can be. And there's one more step to almost glamorizing it, and people almost chuckling at it.
your finger at me, young man. Don't shake your finger at me, young man.
So 1 1/2 hours.
That's fine. You can shake it at Mr. Haggard.
He probably deserves it better than you.
We focus so much on the psychopathology, the backstory, the calculatedness, all of that of the crime they perpetrate, that we lose the humanity of the victims. And I think to the degree that the media could get maybe a little bit more on board with the humanity of the victims, of giving them more richness there, that then we might be able to have a fuller view of this. But I don't think anyone's ever going to stop the media from telling the stories that sell. I think the bigger issue becomes, why are we as a society always incentivizing these personalities? Why do we give these psychopathic, cold, calculated, unempathic, cruel, manipulative personalities so many second chances? Why do we excuse their behavior just because they bring in profits, or say, oh, that's just how they are, that's how they bring excellence? To me, that's actually the real problem. It's less about the media telling these stories and more about how we as a society as a whole enable this nonsense.
Right, young man. If you made a good lawyer, I'd love to have you practice in front of me, but you went another way, partner. Take care of yourself. I don't have any animosity to you. I want you to know.
So where do we go from here? Will the morbid curiosity ever subside? Or is it naturally incurable? Well, that's for you to decide. Because even though the serial killer may take a life, it's the media that profits from it.